This gunsmithing video is for entertainment purposes only. Modifying a rifle will void its warranty and possibly lead to unsafe conditions resulting in dismemberment, death, and burial in an unmarked grave. No one will mourn you, and your friends and family will only remember you as that guy that wore his shirts too tight. Out of the box, this Savage Axis probably isn't ready for a 1,000-yard competition. It's going to take some work to get it there. We'll be doing a stock swap, we'll be doing some very careful hand loading, and then there's the trigger job here. Be sure to subscribe to the Social Regressive so you get instant updates on this total project build. If you like us on Facebook, there's some nice behind-the-scenes footage. And then the playlist down here is going to have the entire series of videos that goes into building, testing, and then actually competing with this rifle. In the previous video, my father-in-law and I eliminated the trigger creep. Now it's time to address the pull weight and overtravel. Our current pull weight is still hovering around 6 pounds, much too heavy for precision shooting. And the overtravel is ungoverned by any mechanism in this trigger. It's huge and it needs to be fixed before we get to fixing the pull weight. The Axis trigger has a hole drilled at the rear to accommodate the trigger return spring. Let's remove that spring. First, chip away the adhesive they use to lock the spring in place. The hole in the trigger is tapped, so you will need to unscrew the spring to remove it. The fact that this hole is tapped is a major boon for us. This is how we will install an overtravel screw. Thanks to a tutorial posted by Hunting Gear Guy on his blog, we won't have to guess at the dimensions and thread pitch. Go out to Lowe's and buy one of their 3 packs of 3/4-inch stainless number 10 Allen screws with a 24 TPI thread pitch. Since the stock trigger pull spring is designed to fit into the tapped hole we just filled, we will need to replace it. Some folks use springs from ballpoint pens or other repurposed items. This Brownell's number 71 spring kit contains a variety of springs that should work, and work consistently for decades. One problem: none of these springs will fit over our new overtravel screw. Even if they could, they would bind up on the screw's threads. We need to get rid of them. Using a pair of number 10 24 nuts to help keep the screw aligned, chuck the overtravel screw into a hand drill. A file will easily turn those threads right off and reduce the overall diameter to one that can easily fit inside one of our gunsmithing screws. One word of caution: hand drills are not designed to handle forces from the side. The bearings will wear out if you do this a lot. Use a lathe if you have access to one. Since we don't have a lathe, we'll just be careful not to press too hard.
We're going to use a lathe file, and make sure you have the smooth part of the lathe file up against the jaws, because the other side, some of these, it has teeth, but this is a lathe file, so there's teeth on neither side. But this one obviously is going to do some damage. All it will work, but use a lathe file if you have one. If you don't have one, grind the teeth off. That will certainly work.
The spring we ended up using has a wire thickness of 25 thousandths, only 1/1000th thinner than the stock spring. This should be a good starting point. The spring fits neatly over our new overtravel spindle. Slightly squash one end of the spring to help it grab onto the overtravel spindle at its base. Clip the spring to a reasonable length that you know will be safe. It's easy to trim coils from a spring. It's more difficult to put them back on. Install the overtravel screw into your trigger, Allen head down. Don't thread it all the way in, leave about 1/4 inch exposed. Now slide your spring onto the spindle, squash side down to grip at the base of the spindle. Reassemble your trigger and test it to make sure it still functions. The pull weight should be high, that's fine. Let's adjust the overtravel first. After pulling the trigger, leave the rifle uncocked. Screw in the overtravel screw until it just barely makes contact with the tang. Run the bolt and feel the overtravel. Continue adjusting the screw until you get the overtravel you want. Take note that if you dial in too little overtravel, the sear will not retract all the way and the firing pin won't be released. The only way to fix this problem would be to change the shape of the trigger, something I am not keen on doing. I'm content to live with a little bit of extra overtravel. A drop of Loctite will make sure that this screw never moves. Now for the grand finale, pull weight. This one is relatively easy, but there are some pitfalls. Just grab a set of wire cutters and proceed by cutting 1/2 coil at a time. Each time you cut a half coil, test the trigger pull. You will notice that the pull weight drops. Be careful here. The spring must always maintain contact with the tang, and there must be enough tension to hold the trigger steady under the sear. If you clip too many coils, you may end up with a trigger that fires unpredictably or won't hold the sear in place. Once you get down to about 4 pounds, test the trigger by cocking the rifle, leaving the safety off, and whacking the action with a plastic or rubber mallet. A safe trigger will withstand all but the most severe hits. As the pull weight continues to drop, start clipping only 1/4 of a coil at a time. You will notice that use will reduce the pull weight. Instead of just pulling the trigger once each time, pull it 20 times. The final pull will be lighter than the first. We decided to stop when our trigger reached 3 pounds. The mallet test indicated that our trigger was safe, and a full-on drop test was further confirmation. You can continue to work your pull even lower if you wish, but we felt that we had reached a good stopping point. The Axis trigger is not a finely machined piece. We're not going to push it. Pay close attention here, guys, because something has changed here that's going to lead to an unsafe condition. When putting the stock back together with this trigger in place, okay, pretty much nothing important has changed dimensionally, except that right here we do have this new Overtravel screw, which descends pretty low into the stock. And let me show you what happens when you put the rifle back together. I'm going to apply some tension here, kind of simulate the screws pulling everything down, and you can see that this screw sticks down below where the trigger well is really relieved. And if you look here on this the trigger loop section of the stock here, there's this section of plastic that sticks up, and this can actually make contact with the screw here when you're tightening this down, and it can actually fire the trigger. If you have a Dremel tool, this is an easy fix. Just dish out some of the plastic back here to prevent any contact. If you don't have a Dremel tool, just get some sandpaper, wrap it around a dowel or something, and just carve out some plastic right there. At this point, this trigger is pretty much exactly what I want it to be. It's light, it's crisp, I think it's going to work really well. But remember that this trigger does not make the gun more accurate. It makes me a bit more accurate, or it helps me to be more accurate. To actually make the rifle accurate, that's going to take a bit more work. So again, be sure that you have subscribed to the Social Regressive so you don't miss out on any of the videos. We will be doing a stock swap on this. We will be bedding the action to the stock, and we're going to use 2 different methods on that. We'll do pillars, and we're going to do a DevCon 10-110 kind of glass bedding in there. And that sort of stuff, along with some very careful hand loading, that's going to be what makes this rifle actually accurate.